So I just got back from Washington, D.C., and I've had a lot of people ask me how was my experience, what did I think, and was I safe? So I thought I might just make a video to help answer everyone's questions all at once here. So yes, I am safe. I didn't put myself in danger nor anyone else in danger. And I was able to capture some amazing images, and I took a lot of videos with my cell phone as well that I'd like to share with you guys so that you can experience the day just as I did through my own eyes and my perspective. I didn't try to make anything more flowery. I didn't try to make anything more dark. It's just what I saw and I thought was interesting is what I shot. Now, being a photographer, I did drop the ball because I only brought one lens with me. It was a wide angle 15 to 35, and I wish that I brought a zoom lens, a 70 to 200, because I feel like I left a lot of meat on the bone regarding photos that I could have taken, and I wish that I took a million more on this historical day. So I went to Washington, D.C. for my primary reason, which was just to thank the president for all that he's done and all that he's been through. And my second reason was to stand for more transparency in our elections. I believe that this last election had a lot at stake, and the process wasn't very transparent and certainly hard to verify, and there was a ton of anomalies regarding this election process. So where better to be heard than the doorsteps of the politicians, not small businesses or not people that believe otherwise than myself. So that's why I was in Washington, D.C. So on day one when I arrived, there was an event going on at Freedom Plaza. They had a couple of thousand people out there, a lot of Trump flags, a lot of American flags, and there was a lot of preaching going on. They had several different preachers. I myself, I don't like the mixed religion with politics. I was there for a very specific reason or reasons, and having church was not one of them, although I do appreciate fellow believers. That was kind of a miss for me on that day. So I took only a few photos on that day. The big day was the next day, was the Trump rally, and gates opened at 7 a.m. to get close to see the president. Well, I got there at about 8:30, and the lines were just tremendous already. They were wrapping around the memorial. They were coming from every direction. I didn't know where they began or where they ended. It was supposed to be a mostly sunny day, but there was no sun at all. And it was in the low 30s. The ground was wet and damp, slightly muddy, so the proper shoes were definitely a must. My feet were cold throughout the day. They didn't have any porta potties. They had no restrooms. They had no trash cans or food vendors. So it was a day of just totally being present in the moment and forgetting about everything else that was going on. So the president was about an hour late on that day, but we had a few speakers throughout. Being from New Orleans, this reminded me a lot of a festival. People were dressed up, people were lively, they had a lot of flags, a lot of messages, a lot of American flags. There were people out there that were middle-aged, that were elderly, that were young. So it was your everyday man and woman that were out there. I myself didn't encounter anyone rude. I didn't encounter anyone dangerous or militant. The people that I encountered from my own perspective were all kind and considerate and helping each other when someone needed help. If someone dropped something, someone else picked it up. If someone needed a hand up, someone lended a hand. So that was sort of my day and my experience. I enjoyed being around all those people. I enjoyed the energy. I enjoyed, the whole situation. Now, what went on at the Capitol later that day, after the president spoke, he announced we were going to the Capitol. So I didn't even know that was coming. And so seeing this sea of people migrate down these city streets was a sight to behold. I mean, and they were going down all kinds of city streets, and there was 100,000 plus people. And so I've never been a part of any protest. So on the inside, I was jittery. I mean, my adrenaline was up. So it was no longer cold because what was unfolding was something that was so fluid, so amazing in a way. And so I was there to observe and also participate, but mostly capture. And so I did get a lot of great things in that regard. Now, I didn't have cell phone service that day, so I didn't know what was going on the upper area of the Capitol, up on the steps. I didn't know what was going on the inside of the Capitol. So it wasn't later that night that I started to get more information. So my experience out there, when I first arrived at the Capitol, they had a sea of people everywhere. Surrounding everything that you can see, there were people. And so I had that just one wide angle lens. And if I just hung out in the back and took photographs that way, it would have just looked like a center for ants. You wouldn't be able to make out anything. So it would be so tiny. So I found myself inching closer and closer and closer until I was all the way in the front, trying to capture everything that I could capture the best way that I could. And my experience the entire time, there was a lot of chanting, a lot of singing. I was paying attention to people around me, trying to observe everyone. I knew that there would be bad actors within the group, either infiltrating the group, maybe in the group itself. It's not up to me to judge. I wasn't there to judge. I wasn't there to condone. I was there mostly to observe. And so what happened inside the Capitol, I didn't know about. I didn't have a cell phone service. And I don't think that most people around me knew about, because there wasn't a lot of chatter going on about anything like that. I don't know if they were with a group. I don't know if they were right-wing. I don't know if they were Antifa. I don't know. And I don't care to speculate on it either. So I believe individuals have to accept individual responsibility for their own actions. And so when you endanger yourself or someone else, then that's something that you have to face those consequences and those risks for. So before I'm an American, I'm a Christian. And I believe I answer to a maker before I answer to a law. That's what keeps my moral boundaries from going astray. So the event unfolded. I documented it the best way that I could, the way that sufficed me. And I'm going to share that with you. I'm not going to add any music because I don't want to manipulate the mood at all. I'll just leave it stark and quiet. I'll let you hear the bad audio from my cell phone footage. And there's going to be a point where you'll see some singing at the Star Spangled Banner at the front of the Capitol. And then about 20 minutes transpire, and I go up on a scaffold to get a different perspective, a different vantage point. And that's when the police really started to make a push to disperse the crowd, and the tear gas really started flowing. I was up in a higher area and the wind was blowing right my way. So I didn't last up there but about 4 minutes before I was pretty much blinded and had to work my way down from there, get some fresh air, and I was on my merry way. On my walk home, I didn't encounter any violence. I didn't see much litter on the ground either. I didn't see vandalization. I wasn't around angry people. That wasn't my experience. I don't think that was the experience of 99% of the people that were there. So I went to bed that night, or on my walk home, I should say, when I started getting information about what actually was going on in the Capitol, hearing about death, hearing about injuries, hearing about the chaos that was going on. I knew nothing about it. I don't know that a lot of people did know anything about it. And it gave me a lot of dismay. It put a lot of confusion in my heart. I woke up the next day very confused. And even today, I still feel somewhat confused. But what gives me hope is, in my Christianity, I believe that America and this world is a temporary place, and I'm a visitor here. And we have to find our individual purpose, our individual happiness. And we have to hold on to that, even if the world around us eventually falls apart. And so I just want to encourage everyone out there that woke up that next day feeling confused or depressed or have anxiety or anger or embarrassment, whatever the case is. All these things are temporary, but the condition of our heart, how we treat each other with respect, how we love each other, and how we live out our life is the most important thing that matters. So I didn't endanger myself. I was safe the whole time. I didn't endanger anyone else. I did not get close to a police officer. And so for the people that did do those things, my heart's broken in that way. But I'd like to just go ahead and share what I captured at this point for you guys now.
Bye.